someone who had never been married before, um, who was willing to go back with them, um, and who apparently I'm assuming it's implied by omission, uh, that they were happily ever after, like because there's no mention of them like breaking up later, and yeah, so it's kind of implied just by like, yeah, they were together forever after that. So that must have been the sign. That's what the story is in there for. Is that, yeah, obviously it's a sign because God put it in the Bible. But if you're gonna say that about signs and say, oh, it's just a lightning bolt, or oh, it's just someone offering you water to drink, someone was bound to do it, or you were bound to see a lightning bolt eventually. You just have to look at the nuance of the things. Like I was saying, like it was very bright. It wasn't like, yeah, and I'm still with her to this day. So things like that kind of prove that it was an actual sign. There's another sign that I didn't really plan as a sign, but ended up being a sign. When I made that prayer to God for God to be my matchmaker, I said, God, be my matchmaker. One thing I also said, I said, God, I think it would be cool if when I meet her, this person that you want me to be with, as my matchmaker, when you matchmake me with them, when you put her and I together and we date and we unite our bodies together, I think it would be cool if I got her pregnant on the very first try. I think that'd be cool because, like, versus compared to dating for 6 months, sleeping together often, at least weekly, maybe every day for 6 months, no pregnancy, not even using birth control, nothing, and still no. I think that's kind of disappointing. Like, I don't want that to happen. Almost maybe embarrassing. Maybe people will start asking questions about fertility one way or the other, me or her. So I said, God, I think it would be cool if when you put us together, you gave us a child instantly. So what ended up happening, I met this girl. We didn't sleep together right away. We kind of didn't hook up and unite our bodies together until 2 months later. And when we did, she did not get pregnant on the very first try. But she did get pregnant faster than she ever got. She already had two, three kids before I met her. Um, I got her pregnant. She had one whole period before I got her pregnant. One. So that's record time. That's, you want to talk about genetic compatibility. Not only that, physical compatibility. I've never been so physically compatible with somebody. The way our hands fit together, our lips, our faces, our face cards, we match together. The way we hug, our height, like everything fits together too perfectly. Um, there's a lot of implications about what I just said. Figure it out. The and that's the most modest way that I can put that, the most appropriate way I can describe that. So yeah, she got pregnant by me instantly. I call that instantly. Um, uh, One whole period. I mean, now that I've had 3 year relationships with. Well, I mean, they were on birth control. I wonder how many people I slept with that didn't have birth control. But I never had a kid before. Never got anybody pregnant before, which is surprising because I'm 31 now. Uh, so, kind of surprising nobody got pregnant before. And then this girl, pregnant instantly. Is that a sign? I never got anybody pregnant before in my entire life. But this girl, I get her pregnant. She had one whole period before she got pregnant. This girl has had kids before, never got pregnant faster than she did with me. I mean, aren't these things signs? And it fits the description of exactly what I asked for in my prayer, and the lightning bolt, and just the feelings. that I've never felt before. I think there's a lot of like signs that God has given me, um, whether I asked for them or not. Uh, but my point is that you can ask for signs and He will give you signs, and that will help you. Because like, what's the point of asking God to like be your matchmaker if okay you ask Him that and then what? You end up choosing whoever you want anyway, right? So like, how do you sit back and wait and listen for what God's going to tell you? How do you actually let God choose for you? How do you do that? Like, you can ask for signs, and you can also just be very careful. Do not unite your body to anybody. You can go on dates. Maybe you can kiss them. Maybe try not to. If you do, that's not really bad. The one thing you don't want to do is unite your body to anybody, because that's like you sealed the deal when you do that. I made a commitment not to sleep with anybody unless I knew for sure that they were who God wanted me to be with. So, don't do that. Don't sleep with anyone. Be very careful about that, because you can wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. You can talk to one person for a whole year straight, and if they're the person God wants you to be with, then that won't like be a deal breaker for them. You will be together, and eventually you will sleep together, and you'll be glad that you waited a whole year. Wait it out. Do not sleep with somebody within a month of talking to them. Wait. I did. This girl I'm talking about, I talked to her. I would have slept with her that very night, but we ended up waiting 2 months before we reconnected and slept together. So, and I did that instantly because I felt sure. I felt sure that she was the one. Um, so now I didn't do that for everybody though, because there was a lot of people that I had the opportunity to sleep with that I did not. And people would make fun of me. They'd say, "Oh, is he gay? Is he oblivious? Does he not understand that this girl wants him like real bad?" And it was really like frustrating to deal with like what other people thought was the reason why I wasn't sleeping with people who obviously wanted to sleep with me. Very frustrating to deal with, but it was worth it to deal with that frustration in order to let God wait and let God be my matchmaker and be sure. So there was a lot of people that like I had the chance to, and I was just like I had a feeling. I was like, it's there's just not, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But this girl, I was like, no, I'm sure. Like there's no hesitation, question in my mind. Like I'm ready to unite my body to this girl and commit to her for the rest of my life. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of signs you can look for. There's a lot of things you need to keep in mind in order to for this to work. If you're because if you ask God to be your matchmaker and then you just go sleep around, then it's not really how that works. Like you have to follow God's instruction. You have to kind of do things His way in order to get this kind of prayer answered. So yeah, eternal spouses. Everyone's got an eternal spouse. You can ask God to lead you to that eternal spouse. You can ask for signs. You should stay abstinent until you're sure. And, there's stories about this in the Bible. There's an example about this in the Bible. People asking God to be their matchmaker, asking for signs. There's my own personal example. There's real life examples of people who are very obviously meant to be together. Like they are like, if any two people in the world, because I'm not the only person in the world who has met his eternal spouse on earth before I got to heaven. There's plenty of people who have lived throughout human history who met their eternal spouse on earth. One example I can think of is if you've ever heard of the band, I call it band, it's a music duo, Matt and Mika, Magdalena Bay. Those two strike me as like eternal spouses. Ozzy Osbourne and his wife Sharon, eternal spouses. You can just tell, like they're just meant to be together. Like, for some reason I can't think of too many other examples off the top of my head. Maybe some examples in your local life. Two people who are just meant to be together. Maybe if you think of some examples of like celebrities who are very obviously eternal spouses, let me know in the comments. Anything you want to say, let me know in the comments. I'm not a triggered person. Like, I welcome even the most offensive disagreement because that's what's going to spark discussion is disagreement. Like, if it's just agreement, it's just a fucking circle jerk. So, uh, I welcome, um, there's trolling too. Like, if you have a passionate viewpoint, um, even if you are trolling, go ahead and troll in the comments. Like, I want comments. Good, bad, like, because it's going to spark discussion and it's going to give me something to make a video about. So, uh, God bless y'all.